Alright you guys, in today's video what I wanted to go over is how often you should be checking your engine oil. How many miles or how many months. Checking your engine oil is almost as important as changing your engine oil. If the engine oil gets low, that's when engine knocking happens. I have 176,000 miles, and yes, when I first had the car 13 years ago, it didn't burn very much oil. As it's aged, it slowly increased its burning, just like on any car. All cars burn oil, even a Bugatti.
Can I do the honors?
Maybe. I'll let them do half the court.
Half the court?
Half at a time.
Alright, well this is a life experience, putting oil in a Bugatti. So, fun fact about these Bugattis, I thought this was a fuel cap.
I know.
It's actually an oil cap.
Yeah, go to the other side, fuel cap.
I learned that on the side.
So as you can see here, even as they add oil to the Bugatti, if you're not checking your oil, your engine's gonna grenade. It's only a matter of time. So as the engine ages, the piston rings wear, parts wear, and oil consumption starts to happen. I'm at 176,000 miles, and I used to check my oil every 1,000 miles. Now I check it every 500. And if you're not driving that many miles in a month, I'd say you should at least be checking it once a month. So I wanted to go ahead and show you guys how to check it properly and what an engine sounds like that has good oil in it. If you hear engine knock, and when you rev it a little higher, and if you hear that knocking noise, that means someone has let the oil level get low on your VQ. When I check the engine oil, I ensure the car is usually set overnight. It's the best way to check it. But for this video, I want you guys to hear an engine that has 176,000 miles on it and what it sounds like because the oil level has never gotten low. You never hear any knocking, any ticking of the lifters, anything. So let's go ahead and fire this beast up, my 2005 G35. So you guys can have a listen. As you can see here, 176,000 miles are on the clock. And I use my trip meter to keep track of my oil change intervals, how long it's been. I use the very first trip meter to keep track of my gas, because we all know how accurate the gas gauge is on a G35. Just joking, it's very inaccurate. So I use my trip meter for my gas, and then I use my second trip meter for my oil, as you can see right there. So it's been about 3,000 miles. I change my oil every 8,000 miles, and that's because I sent my oil sample into Blackstone Labs, where they did an analysis of the oil and said it's safe for me to go to 10,000 miles. I just do it every 8. And if you're waiting for, you're like, well, instead of checking the engine oil, I'm just gonna wait for my oil light to come on. So then I know I can put some oil in the car. Well, if you wait for the oil light, it's too late. You've already done damage. The oil light is the oh shit light. And I recommend you should be checking it every 500 miles to every 1,000 miles, or once or twice a month. Let's go ahead and pop the hood. So this is a 13-year-old motor. This is the rev up. And I want you to hear a solid example of an engine that's never been low on oil. See, you hear no ticking, no knocking. And a lot of the help that's helped with the consumption is my vented catch can, which you guys have asked a lot about. What this does is ensure the blow-by oil is not getting sucked into the lower plenum. It's blocked right here. It also ensures blow-by oil is not getting stuck into the air intake because it's blocked right here. So, yes, this engine still consumes oil. This definitely helps slow it down. And it ensures the sludge is not left behind. The blow-by deposits are left behind in the engine. So let's go ahead, let's let this engine cool down for a minute. I recommend at least an hour. I really recommend overnight, and then you check the oil. So let's go ahead and do that. So when checking the oil, I just use a blue shop rag. And all you do is you're gonna pull it out like this over here. And you may be asking yourself, well, how much do you consume? How much oil are you consuming? Well, in city driving, if I'm taking it easy. City driving short trips, unfortunately, it consumes more. It consumed about half a quart every 1,000 miles. So now Sedona, where I just came from, the car I just put 3,000 miles on, and 3,000 miles, since it was highway driving, I only consumed half a quart every 3,000, which I know is hard to believe. So I let this get about a half a quart low on purpose for demonstration purposes. Sometimes to get a better reading, you want to kind of take the dipstick and the oil will flow backwards on it. Let's see here if I can get this. So if you can see here, I'm about half a quart, a little over half a quart low. Going from H to L, if you see your oil down here on the L, that means you're a full quart low on oil. Halfway up on this dipstick means you're half a quart low on oil. The VQ takes 5 quarts of oil. So if you're completely not showing anything on the dipstick, you're running on 4 quarts instead of 5. So sometimes this dipstick can also be hard to read. A little trick is you could take some sandpaper in this cheese grated area and you can just scuff it up, and that'll give the oil a little better place to grip on, so you can get a better reading on your dipstick when you're checking the oil. So let's go ahead and add some oil to it. So city driving, it definitely consumes a lot more. And in the Sedona, I was going hard on it. Let me clip that in for you. I'll show you how hard I was going on it when I show you this level. Let's go ahead and tie that in.